first of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Cristina Callas, and I'm head of enrollments, outreach, and admissions at SAE Institute, the Dubai campus. Now, as for the purpose of this session and what mentioned in the email is to know more about SAE, but also how the sunny Dubai. And in fact, there is something important to highlight is that the sun is always shining at one of our campuses of SAE, because we are global, it's international, and we have many campuses in the different continents. So I would like to welcome each one of you for taking some time today to attend this session. I will make it as enjoyable as it can be, and of course, not to talk too much, because I think that we all want to know the important highlights about the institution and the country and how we can help the agents. And from there, I'll keep it open for all your questions. But of course, let me start by giving you a brief history about SAE. So in explaining the journey, I'm not sure if any one of you has already collaborated with one of our SAE campuses in the different countries. But also I would like to welcome all of you, the new and the ones who have already collaborated. So SAE Institute is an Australian institution that was founded in 1976 in Sydney, Australia. So over there, we started with our first campus, and we got the name of, now we use the acronyms of SAE, but it used to stand for the School of Audio Engineering, because when we started back in 1976, we started with one degree, which is audio production. And throughout that time, in 1982, we started our expansion in the world. And by that time, we got established in UK, US, and in Asia. By 2005, we got our campus here in Dubai. So we landed in here. It's been a very successful 17 years of presence in the UAE and in the Dubai campus. Now, there is the most important thing to highlight. Of course, this is where you will find some other SAE campuses. So you can see that from the extreme of the globe to the other, we have campuses all over the place. But I will talk more specifically about SAE Dubai and the relation that we have with the mother campus in Australia. So over here, you can see the 6 other campuses in Australia and 1 in New Zealand. Now, the most important thing to highlight about the university is that SAE is a specialized university, which means that we focus on one sector or one type of education, which is creative media. And this is something that is very special to us, because what you have seen in terms of different campuses, now what I've shown you, we have 47 campuses in 23 countries. So all the leadership, all the support from the academic, but also from the industry, is just being focused on this, on the different mainstreams that I will introduce now, which comes all under the sector of creative media. And we can now see the big impact and the growth that creative media is bringing to the education field, but most importantly, when we talk about career and the new professions that are in place. So when we present our programs, so these are the logos, and in fact, these are the different programs that we offer in terms of bachelor degrees. So we have a Bachelor of Animation, Audio, Design, Visual Communication, Film, Games, and we have also a new diploma that we will be launching in September, and which is the Augmented and Virtual Reality. I'm sure that with all the talks that is now happening in the world of metaverse and haptic technology, you can all relate to these programs. And in fact, I don't call them only futuristic programs, because they have also proven that, and from years of now, that these programs, they do have a dedicated people and a growing career. But also when it comes to the AR and VR, this is now where most of the talks in technology is heading to. So we are very proud to say that we've launched a new diploma in this field. Now, the duration of each degree runs for 3 years. So the students, they should meet some criteria or academic requirements to be able to join the bachelor degree. This is something that I will talk about later on. But I just want to highlight and talk about the very important aspect of the accreditation for SAE programs is that we work with a dual accreditation. This means that, as I mentioned, SAE is considered as an international branch campus to SAE Australia. So being based in Dubai, it means that we still are still academically and throughout the accreditation overviewed by Australia. So the students who join Dubai campus, they do graduate with an accredited degree from TEXA. TEXA being the Tertiary Education Quality Standard Agency in Australia. But of course, we do have our local accreditation from the KHDA, which is the Knowledge and Human Development Authority. And this is very important, where the students who are attending these programs here in Dubai, they get the chance to receive a dual accreditation. And we also support with, so the students, they don't have to follow the hassle of getting the accreditations. The certificates do come to us attested and accredited. Now, a student who wants to apply to any of these majors, they should know that they are coming for a program that is running for a duration of 3 years. Their learner or their journey, it runs over 9 trimesters. And when they graduate with a bachelor degree. It's a bachelor of audio, of design, of games. So it depends on the specializations that they are choosing. Now, I will, if you have like any questions about the programs, I can go like more in depth towards this. I can show you sample of the industry associations. But can it be like any of the programs that we offer? They all have the same learning stages, which means that the programs are divided into 3 main stages. Stage 1 of foundational skills development. And this is where we start by, the first trimester will be a general trimester for all students. So they get to immerse in the academic or the not theoretical, but in the more of the like writing skills and learning skills of creative media industries in general. And they get introduced to the creative aspects. It's collaborative learning, and they get introduced to the degree that they are applying for. Even though it's a general trimester for all the students, but they should pick their specialization or their field or major prior to this. So within this, we start by introducing also the foundational skills for a specific subject and what they will keep on being assessed on, which means that they will be more involved with studio units. So because of the nature of these programs, can be animation, audio design, the students, they don't sit for written assessments. So we don't use the terminology of exams. What the students will be working on is mainly projects. And this is what we call it, it's an active-based learning. So they learn as they do. And this is what explains also the big importance that we give to the industry when the students, they join our programs. Now, all this, they will get it in the foundational skills development. And when they finish the stage 1 of studies, the students can graduate or they can exit with a diploma. So within this, the stage 1 will ensure that at least the students, if they want to exit from the program, they can exit with a qualification. In that case, it will be a diploma. Once they move to the stage 2 of studies, so it's meaning the second year of their studies, and this is where we call it as an interdisciplinary project, media and cultural studies. So they are more involved in studio production and post-production units. But also I would give a different name to the stage. So we call it, it's a simulation stage, which means that SAE is simulating a business environment. And this is very important because when the students want to succeed in these programs, they have to be always linked to the industry. And the way that they perform in terms of like projects, and this is the active-based learning, they progress into an environment that simulates a business environment. So SAE will become or will look like more like their production house or their agency, and their instructors and the faculty are becoming more as their mentors and their managers. And this helps a lot once they graduate from SAE to go into the second or the next phase of work placement. And they are like really very ready to be picked for any position in the creative media industries. So when the students, they want to exit from that stage 2, they can exit with an associate degree. So meaning they have completed around 19 units from the full 27 units. Now, when they move to the stage 3, and this is the final stage at SAE, and this is the portfolio project. So the students, they work on their final project that they need to present to the committee. And once they get the approval, they start with the development, and then they will start with the production of their final project. They also choose an elective unit. So we don't call here at SAE a major and a minor, but we call it the specialization, but also an elective unit. So a student who's taking film as their major, they can choose an elective in one of the other programs that we offer. So it can be from animation, it can be from audio, design, games, or AR/VR. And what's very important within this last stage is that the students, they have to complete their internship unit. So internship is a mandatory unit at SAE, and the university will sort out the internship for them. So the students, they don't have to look by themselves for this opportunity. SAE will sort it out to them. And most of the students who would join or who would complete their internship units, they are being offered a job placement. It's not 100% guaranteed, no, but as long as they do the work or they have like a nice approach to the work, yes, they are being given job offers. So what I believe that by the end of this session, I'll be able to share the presentation with you, but I will go like very quickly about each specific major. And if you have any question, please, we can keep it towards the end. I'm sorry, but I cannot see any of your question if there's like anything happening on the chat. But within this part of my presentation, I'm highlighting about the career prospects and the career opportunities, because we tend, and especially because we have feeling kind of a lack of awareness when it comes to the creative media, not education, but in the creative media career. So a lot of people, they have like a passion for animation, let's say, but they don't know once they take the degree for the duration of 3 years, and they invest so much in time and in it's time, it's money, it's being away of their families, what they are able to achieve or to become, and what the industry is, how it's ready for them. So of course, we are highlighting here career prospects, career opportunities, and also the industry associations that we have it for them here in the UAE. And I will talk about the UAE and about its readiness and the plans that they have for creative media in general, and how the industry is moving into becoming a creative economy in here. So this is for animation. A big shout for audio production. We all know how, and especially like during the period of COVID, where lots of businesses had shut down, they closed for a specific period of time, but the creative media was still active on that front, because people, like when you want to unwind, when you want to like spend time on, you want to have like to see that content creation. So it's a field that never stops. The production is always there. And if you remember those days, so we were either like on our screens watching films or listening to music, and this is where like industry professionals were still like working on their production in their studios. So of course, when it comes to audio, and this is like we call it like we cherished this program because it was like the first program that SAE started teaching in audio, and still as of like when we speak now, the number of universities that are offering audio degrees is very limited around the world. And we are very proud to say that SAE was one of the pioneering. Industry associations are very big. We send students to all the different festivals that do happen in Dubai. And you can really tell that Dubai was like the first countries to ease the COVID restrictions, and we are back on like lots of events the way it is now going globally. But again, the students were able to go and join different industry associations, but we send them to jazz festivals, to the Red Fest festivals. All these are music festivals where the students, they get the chance to enhance or to show their skills in production, post-production, but also into live sound. A very nice program also that we offer within design and visual communication, and it's the design and visual communication program, where students can immerse into the world of creative advertising. This is where they can become also creative directors, work as motion graphic designers, become graphic designer, and God knows like how many opportunities are open for graphic designers. Each company requires one. Every business, because you work on branding, so it's brand identity. It's all about like creating visuals, creating those like the visual contents and the visual graphics that the graphic designers do. I'll be glad also to share with you later on the chat links to students' work, because it's very important like to look at what the students are able to complete once they join these programs. Another important program, which is the film, again, so it's a growing career. It's existed since like ages, and it's still like working perfectly well, and especially that the UAE is becoming a hub for international production houses, but also it's being a place where international crews are coming in here to shoot. So you all know that Mission Impossible, Fast and Furious, these are like movies where they have been shot in Dubai, but also when you talk about the shooting, it's the production also that is involved in this. And that will be an amazing opportunity for students who are studying here at SAE Dubai campus to get into that experience. Again, so the program focuses on the 3 stages of filming, which are the pre-production, production, post-production. All the equipments are offered or provided by SAE. So the students, they don't need to purchase any equipment for any program that they are enrolled in, because SAE provides them with the right environment, classrooms, equipment, studios that we have here on campus. And all the pictures that I'm showing here next to my, like in these slides, are actual SAE and students' pictures. Also, one of the fast-growing programs around the globe, it's the games development program. And you all know like the importance now of gaming, gamification, esports. So what we do at SAE is that we teach the students, if they want to go into that amazing career later on, how they can get the proper skills for games programming and for games designer, and they can go into that crazy moving forward industry. And here in the UAE, it's important to mention that the government has established a gaming hub that they call a gaming hub, where they are getting all the international gaming companies to come and get established in here. And of course, if they are established, it means that they want more and more people to be working with them, and they would look at the students who are graduating from UAE universities. And when we say that students graduating from the UAE, it's all the international students that we have here. You know that as UAE, it's mostly constituted of expats, and the local community is very minimal. So students, if it's an international students or a locally recruited students, we all put them in one on one level. So there's no like differentiation. And when we say that they take or they want to recruit students graduating from the UAE, it's open to all the students who are studying with us, because the international students will get a student visa and they will be residents of the UAE. And the last program that we are launching, and we will start in September with the first batch, which is the AR and VR. So it's augmented and virtual reality. It's all like everybody talks about the metaverse, about this virtual implementation of the world. Students can join this as a diploma level, so it's offered for one stage, and then they can top it up with a different degree. So the most successful collaboration that I see now in AR VR is for the students that they can start with this program, they complete the first stage, and then they can move to the games or they can move to the animation degree, because both of these programs, they do get content from each other. Because of that augmented reality, which means that we are replicating or implementing a virtual world, which means that that virtual world can be created by animators or it can be created by developers. So all this is something to consider and to look at. Now, SAE is different, and the difference lies in the following points, is that we have 40 years of creative pedigree. So we have been teaching and focusing on this field for the past 40 years. We have an important faculty pool of industry experts. So students, when they come to study at SAE, their instructor and the faculty, even though they are going to give them theoretical and academic part, even if it's like active-based learning, but they still get their share of the academic part. It's a bachelor degree at the end. So they are all of them working professionals, industry experts, and this is what gives them allow the students to get like very powerful knowledge in their field. We have adaptive degree programs to the nature of the industry. It's a very important virtual learning environment, which means that the students, they don't choose, it's not like online. I'm not talking about an online attendance. It's 100% on-campus attendance. However, all the resources that the students get are digital resources. They don't go by, they don't have to purchase books. We have a very important, like a big library at SAE where they can use our own books, or they can have the online resources. But again, all the experience that they have, it's an online virtual experience. We have our local and international industry network. Of course, now we are based in Dubai. The associations, the biggest associations are happening are within the UAE, but of course we have a large network of international associations. And we impart the international pathways. I'll come to speak about this later on. And of course, the most important thing is that we are imparting the 21st century skills, and it's about like some skills that we highlight. The students are here to learn, of course, about specific technological skills, but it's important to highlight some of the additional ones where we work with while the students are studying at SAE. So it's all related to creative thinking, to management skills, to critical thinking, because you have to be, when you're creative, you have to look at the design thinking. So these are things that will grow with the students, and they will get it automatically as they are progressing into the degree. The student experience is amazing because they do access industry standard equipments and studio facilities. So within my presentation, we have the 360 tour for the campus. Once I share it with you, you will have the chance to go through it. So you can, by clicking on your laptop, you'll be able to visit each lab, each classroom, to check on the equipment, because we have a big investment that we do on equipment. Otherwise, if we don't offer this to students, they won't be able to progress in the way that will meet the high standards of their studies. So the picture that you see here, for example, for one of our audio studios, where you will have Andy, the instructor, with this group of students, they are working on sound design. It's an education that goes beyond classroom. So the students, they have the chance to go even like within their units to visit industry. They are, for example, if they are working on any type of production, they can do it like beyond the classroom doors. They are always invited to showcase their talent, their work, to industry experts, to throughout competitions, throughout different events that are organized either by the industry or by SAE itself. They get like an amazing student engagement through events and clubs. For international students, we make sure that the experience when it starts at SAE, it's an enjoyable and it's without any stress. We always know that students, when they are moving, like leaving their families, going to a new place, they always have like this, somehow like a kind of an anxiety. So what we do is that during the first week of the studies, so we call it like orientation week, we divide the students as per their countries in a way that we assign an SAE students who speak the language, who might be coming from their specific countries. So we put them as peer students. So in case they have any question about the culture in here, where to get, for example, the food if they are missing like home food, just like so they will be assigned other than the student services team, but some current students who will support them from day one where they reach SAE up until like they feel that they are really comfortable with their like by staying in the UAE. And we know that it's a very important topic to discuss. And the students, of course, we think that their views are very important to be listened to, so they can make their views being conveyed to SAE through the student council body. And after they complete their first year of studies, they can take part into the student council. We have a very important advisory council here at SAE that is constituted of professionals whose mission and what they want to achieve is to mentor each student that we have at SAE. And why do I say each student? It's because I want you to know that SAE, even though that it's a very big and global university, but the way we work is that we work with small batches. So, and this is why we have 3 different intakes per year, because we want to cater as much as we can to students who want to come and study at SAE. So we take them into somehow small batches. So for example, our group of classes cannot exceed 30 students. So, and this will give enough, when I say that the advisory, they want to mentor the student, it's because we work with small batches. So yes, they are able to mentor each student and to somehow design a career path for them. Now, the International Pathway Program, of course, as much as we love like the students and we want them to come and like to join SAE and stay in SAE Dubai, but also the students, because we are part of this global SAE group, they can transfer to another SAE campus. You know that sometimes students, they want to get the experience here in the UAE, in Dubai, and then they want to get an international experience also different, can be in Australia, in Europe, in other places for like in America, because we also have campuses over there. So they can apply to transfer through the International Pathway Program. Again, I'm showing the same slide as I showed before. It's because the students can move within these places where SAE exists. Now, the easiest transfer will be from SAE Dubai to SAE Australia. The reason being is that it's entirely the same program. So whatever they have completed in Dubai, they can start, they can just like, it's like completed. We start from what is happening next in SAE Australia. For the other campuses, the students, they have to go through what we call a recognition of prior learning and credit transfer, which is, of course, they will still receive credit for it because they have, the programs are more or less similar. Now, let's talk about the requirements. So students completing their, they want to join a university, there are some criteria or requirements that they need to fulfill, which is a minimum age of 17 years old. Most important is the academic qualification, where we request a minimum or like a completion of a secondary school or grade 12 Australian or equivalent Australian curriculum, which means that if a student is completing a British curriculum, it will be the A levels. If a student is coming from an Indian curriculum, then it will be like grade 12 CBSE. Or if they are coming from Russia, we know that for CIS countries, it's 11 years of schooling, then we would take them based on the 11 years of schooling. And the ones who are coming from Nigeria, it will be the WAEC. So we look into their highest completion of academic achievement at schools. And again, for the language, so it's a language requirement, it's an IELTS band of 6.0 or equivalent. So again, if a student has like TOEFL, it's a 550. If they have like a PTE, there are requirements that I'll be able to share with you. But also, we do have an online test provided by a language institute here at SAE that can provide them with the CEFR English test, and they can complete it. If they meet the B2.2, now this is what I'm going to mention, which is the requirement, and it's equivalent to a 6.0 score band of IELTS, they will pass the test. And again, it's it's a cheaper and less hectic option than IELTS in terms of fees, but also in terms of a test. The structure is similar to the IELTS, where they have the spoken, the written, and the oral verbal test to pass. But this is something that we can facilitate for the students, and it's a very easy enrollment process into the test that will only cost 140 dirhams, which is like around $40 US. Now, the fees. I'm sure that it's very important to go into that part. So when the students want to apply to SAE, they will have to apply through an online application form. It's the same application that goes to Australia and to New Zealand, but again, they will mention it's an SAE Dubai. Once we receive their application form, then it's going to be reviewed, and they will receive the initial offer letter. Once they receive the offer letter from us, the students can book their seat by accepting the offer and paying a registration fee of 3,150 dirhams. Sorry, here there's a typing mistake. It's 13150. 3150. And their seat will be booked for that intake. Now, there's another amount that the students will pay, and this is a one-time payment, which is the resource fee. It means that with 2,100 dirhams, which is equivalent to a 900 US, no, it's less. It's equivalent to a 600 US dollars. The students, they do have access to all the equipments that they need, and these equipments are on campus. So all the equipments will be provided by SAE for that fee, and also it's a resource fee, so any documentation from enrollment letter or like any letter that they will need from SAE, it will be provided to them. Now, when it comes to the tuition fee, international students, they go on two payment plans. So it's either a yearly plan where the students, they pay 54,630 dirhams every year, and it's a one-time payment that they do. Or also, if they want to pay by installments, they can pay by trimester, and the amount per term will be 9,860 per term. Now, this is the tuition from like what we request the students to pay. Now, also, we reward the students. So there are different types of scholarships that we offer to the students. We start with the academic scholarship, and the academic scholarship is when we assess the students' grade 12. So we also recognize the academic achievement at school, and if they have scored anywhere between 80% and above, so they can start receiving scholarships that can go up to 20,000 dirhams to be deducted from the full tuition fee. Now, once the students are on campus and they are SAE students, now also we look at their academic achievement, but also their creative portfolio achievement within the university. And after they complete 1 year of studies, they can apply to one of the following scholarships: SAE Academic Achievement Scholarship and SAE Creative Portfolio Scholarship. So with the first one, they have to maintain a specific GPA, so for them to get a scholarship. And the Creative Portfolio Scholarship is something that every student can apply for. And they can get up to 1 trimester for free. Once the students graduate from SAE, they can apply for the alumni scholarship, and this is where they will receive around 15% discount on their second degree. And we also offer a work-study program, which means that every student on campus who is maintaining a good GPA, so passing their units, they can apply for work-study program, which means that they can work in any of the SAE departments, and they can have either like to receive a cashback or a deduction on their tuition fee. Now, to reward our agents who are like really our partners in this, like in the different parts of the world, so we have a scalable commission fee, and we start from the agents would get us anywhere between 1 to 3 students per specific intake. You can get a 13.5% on the first year tuition fee. And let's say that you give us like 1 student. So when they enroll and pay at least the tuition for the first trimester, you will get an amount of 7,375 dirhams. And that amount is paid in 1 installment, which means that it's a 1 payment that is given to the agents after the students have completed 4 weeks of studies within that first trimester. So previously, I want to say that it's mentioned here, it's an updated commission scheme, because previously the commission was paid into 3 installments. So that amount of 7,375 would be divided into 3 installments and paid within the first year of studies. So now we have updated our terms, and the agent gets the full amount paid once, fully. And if the agent gets us between like above than 4 and more, they will get a 15% on the first year tuition fee, and the commission per student will increase to 8,200 dirhams. If you have any question on this, I can get back to this slide. Again, there is a 360 tour that you can view, but then now it's a view of our different classrooms, or here like it's the different studios that you can see in this part on the right side of the screens. These are the audio studios that we offer to our students. It's a fun environment that we have, and all the classrooms are equipped with the laptops that the students they need in order to work on their studies. Now, there are some few points that I want to highlight regarding Dubai specifically. Is that so it's a graduate jobs are plentiful. So you know that, or this is something that I can talk about, like the UAE in general, and it keeps on. The country challenges itself, so they keep on progressing, and they want to have not only. I'm sure that you all know about UAE in terms of tourism, or the UAE in terms of like oil and gas and the economy. Of course, the economy is very important, because when the economy keeps on progressing, it means that there are more and more job opportunities offered to students graduating from the UAE. It's important because once they graduate, they are able to apply for jobs, and they get their like the peace of mind that now I'm able to gain money now, and also like UAE salaries in companies are quite competitive. So really, the students, they can start with 8,000 dirhams, which is like around 2,500 US dollars, which is amazing. Like it's a good income for someone who's just like graduating from university. And students also, when they are on SAE student visa, they can apply for part-time jobs. So when they are studying with us, they can also apply for part-time jobs after, like within a specific creative cluster, we call it. It's a hassle-free and easy visa processing. I'm sure that nowadays some countries are facing some challenges when it comes to getting visas for their students, but in the UAE, it's easy, straightforward. So the students will, or the university will apply for on the students' behalf to get a student visa. It's one of the fastest and safest countries in the world. In fact, this is when you talk about like safe country, believe me, the UAE is one of the safest countries in the world. And I always like highlight this to parents and to agents because I know that it's. I myself have a daughter who's studying. She's at university, and the first thing that I ask about is the safety of the country. So here it's something that is 100% secured. Students will also explore new cultures and experiences because the UAE by itself, it's a country that is mostly constituted of like expatriates. Now, if you come to SAE as a university, the staff is like working here from the different parts of the world, and it's same for the UAE in general. So that melting pot, let's call it that way, it makes it very enriching for students and people here living in the UAE to gain new cultures and new experiences. The students, they will benefit from excellent education facilities. Again, there's lots of investment that we have done for our facilities. And creative professionals are now being awarded the golden visa. Not sure if you have heard of this, but the students, when they will come, we will submit on their behalf for the SAE or the student visa. But once they graduate and they start working in the field, creatives are being awarded a golden visa, which means that they are securing a 10-year visa in the UAE. And it gets also renewed automatically. It's one of the fastest growing creative economy. Yesterday, there was an announcement by the governor of Dubai where they are setting the UAE of becoming a top digital metaverse provider. So now they are promising a 40,000 job opportunities and even like virtual job opportunities for people within the creative industries. So it's like these are like golden news that we receive because they want to make a very important space for creatives to come and study, but mostly like to work in here in the UAE. And again, it's one of the top 10 countries implementing a metaverse strategy. It was announced yesterday, and the strategy is running for the coming 5 years. Again, as I've mentioned during my presentation, and I spoke about some of the imparting the 21st century skills. So again, there are skills that are very important to highlight and for every professional to learn. Now, of course, when the students come and study at SAE, they are focusing too much on their technical skills, but also what employers look at are skills that comes with analytical thinking, innovation, critical thinking, leadership and social influence, resilience, stress tolerance. So they want this from their employees. Now, while the students are working on, and mainly like in the second stage of studies, they get to learn about those skills while they are working on their projects, on their production, because always creative industry active-based learning, it highlights these skills, and these are the top 10 skills of 2025 that were also mentioned by the World Economic Forum. And we always keep up to date with all the new skills and what the employers want, so that we can make sure that students are within that range of employees who will find the job opportunities as fast as they can. Now, again, something to talk about within the UAE is that there is a creative hub that is in Abu Dhabi, and in fact, SAE, as you can see, is one of the partners and the industry developer for this gaming and creative hub. Again, I'm showing you samples of some announcements that were so this is announced by Sheikh Mohammed, who's the ruler of Dubai, and where they are saying that Dubai is the capital of creative economy in the region and the world. And there's a strategic program that they have highlighted where they can take the 8,000 companies that exist now in the UAE up to 15,000, which means that there will be 7,000 new work opportunities for people who are in the creative field. Now, when it comes to also for international students, we assist with visa and accommodation. So we provide an upfront visa sponsorship for all our students. There are documents that I will be sharing once you have a student for SAE that I will share through you for them to complete before they come here. And they can have a 1 year. So we apply on their behalf for the student visa. They get it for 1 year, and then it will be renewed every year. When it comes to students accommodation, we do have two partners. It's the UniNest student accommodation and the Myriad student accommodation. Both of them, they do provide transportation from the accommodation to SAE, different shuttles per day. So it's also, at least the students, they can have their mind settled on which accommodation they want to pick, and at least they don't have to worry about the transportation. This is the information that I wanted to share with you about SAE. I want to thank you. Check the questions that you might have. Please, this is my email address. It's c.kalas@saedubai.com. And this is my mobile number that also has WhatsApp. So if you'd like to share, ask any question, either through email or WhatsApp, and I will be glad answering all the questions that you might have.
Thank you, Christine. Please don't stop sharing the presentation, because I think we're gonna need it.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it with you.
Okay, so keep sharing. All right, so let's go with the first question that we have. How long does it take to get admission after submitting all of the documents?
So for the initial acceptance, you can get it within 3 days. So why now I'm saying 3 days? It's because now we try to process very quickly the applications, because we do have a highest number of applications that we're receiving, and we do it in 3 days so that the students at least can book their seat. Otherwise, because by the way I see it is that by mid of before, so within the first week of August, we might be closing registrations for September intake. Now we do have 3 different intakes, which are in September. So we start on the 19th of September. The second one will be in February 2023. And the third one will be in May 2023. So it's always 3 intakes per year. However, these are some tips that I would like to share with you. If a student is now a fresh school graduate, we always recommend them to join in September, because this is the normal flow, at least for students who are completing high school and then they want to join universities. Here, this is for the region here in Europe, in the States, so that they can start in September. I know that sometimes the academic year might start in new academic year in December or in January. So these ones can join us in Feb. But it's for the students to get their initial offer letter, it will take now 3 to 4 days maximum.
Thank you. Let's go with the next one. Is there a work and study kind of arrangement for students?
So the work-study program that I mentioned in my presentation, it's for students who, after completing 3 trimesters at SAE, they can start working with SAE, so with the university if they want. So an arrangement, it's not an arrangement, so it's open to students. The ones who would like to apply for the different, for that particular opportunity, so they can get in touch with the student services and they will answer them. Of course, the students, at least they have to pass their units and to attend regularly classes. So we look at this as a criteria for them to be awarded the work-study program. But they are always, they will receive a communication from student services.
All right, thank you. The next question is, how many hours a day are the classes and how many days a week? I think it's going to depend on the program.
Yeah, no, so it's an excellent question. Look, so when the students, they come for the normal path, it means that they have 3 units per trimester. So 3 subjects per trimester. When they are, so when they, during the week, they will need to come 3 days. Each day or each session runs for 3 hours. So classroom hours is 9 classroom hours that they need to fulfill within a week. However, there are preparation for the session and post work for the session. So classroom hours is just 9, but the students, they need to double that amount with a preparation and working on their projects. But of course, because I've mentioned that the students, they do have different assignments or projects to submit throughout the trimester. So whenever they get closer to a submission, so this is where they will have to dedicate more hours for their submission. But again, it doesn't change the number of classroom hours. Classroom hours will always be 9 classroom hours per week, and the rest will be just study hours.
Thank you. And the next one is there a possibility to pay per trimester?
Yes, trimester payments are available. What's not available for international students is the monthly payment, because for the monthly payment, we require post-dated checks. And international students cannot give us a post-dated checks from the UAE banks.
Right, the next
if
one
they are
is...
able to do so, they can move to a monthly plan.
All right, thank you. The next one is, please can you remind a deadline for application for all of the... please remind us a deadline for all of the applications.
Okay, look, I can, if I want to talk about a specific date for deadlines, there is no specific date. The thing is that we might close enrollments for the programs that are filled, where we have reached the maximum capacity. So as we speak, for example, the animation program, we can, and the way I see applications coming in, I can see that within 2 weeks, it might close. So we might not be able to take any more students. But if there are still availability, then we can still accept students. What I want to say is that if you have any students who want to apply for September intake, let them do so to be on the safe side by the second week of August to get their documentations and at least the application. Now, if there is a program that is that we cannot accept students, then we can always defer them for February intake.
That was the perfect answer, thank you. Yeah. The next one is, how can we apply any link to apply directly? Do you have it on your website?
Yes, there is a link on the website, but also it's always better to get in contact with me so that I can share the link with you. But it's on the website.
Mm-hmm. Right, and as you mentioned that usually the graduates are going to work after their studies to companies, as I saw from the presentation, like CNN, Reuters, Ubisoft, basically
Yeah.
like I would say the top of the companies. Mm, which, if you would say, amount of students after graduating are getting the work just straight away? Because usually in a lot of countries, I'm not speaking about the UAE because I don't have any experience in the UAE. Many times it happens that in a lot of countries, students are looking for a job like 2 to 4, even like sometimes 5 or 6 months after the graduation. But what is the situation in the UAE? Like, let's say we have one student at the animation, audio design, film, games, and AR, VR programs. Approximately, in what time they would find job after graduating, or would they
Okay.
have already job when they will graduate?
Okay. Very good question. Now, look, I'll answer I'll have different options for you. So you ask, once they graduate, would they have jobs? And I would say, before they graduate, they can have jobs. Yes. And I have examples of students on campus who, within their last trimester, both two of them secured the jobs at Ubisoft. Why is this? Because once, when they were sent for the internship unit to that company, they were so happy with the work that they immediately gave them a job. So they started doing a part-time job with the company, and once they graduated, they went on a full-time mode. So they can have this option given to them. And why it's given to them? Because also of what I've mentioned, with students being on SAE student visa, they can get part-time jobs. So it's legal for them to be working. It wasn't the case previously, and this is like a bit different from how the UAE was structured in terms of work opportunities for students, and in some other countries like in Europe or the States, where it's like it was more of a frequent thing to be done. Now, a survey that we have done for our alumni, it showed that 93% of our students, they got a job within 4 months of graduation. Okay, which is, I believe that it's a very good percentage. Now, a new thing also that the UAE has implemented is that they can allow students who have like the student visa to stay in the UAE for an additional 1 year on using their student visa to look for jobs. At least the visa will not be cancelled, which used to be the case before.
So if I am a student and
so they can extend their visa.
So if I am a student and I just graduated and I'm looking for a job, there is no need for me to come home, apply for another visa, and come back. I can just stay with the visa that I have and work for 1 year for a job.
1 year.
Perfect.
For 1 year. Okay. Now, also a third point is that because of the nature of the programs, so there is a very important aspect is that the students can freelance. So freelancing, it means that they can do some like jobs with many of these companies that you have mentioned. They can take them for a project, so they can work on projects. So even before graduating, or when they graduate and they haven't like settled something that is a full-time work placement, they can always have opportunities where they can work on some projects and at least get the money in. Of course, they all want to have that security of a full-time job, but these are like options, and you will find students who, because of what we teach in our units on entrepreneurship, is that they are so excited to go in that route. Now, within the programs, of course, we teach the skills, yeah, but other than the technical skills, there are business skills. So entrepreneurship is one of these units that we teach. So it's because it's given within the programs that we offer. So it's amazing if you are able to start your own business, your own ideas, and to grow it. Now, what's helping us is that SAE is located in what we call Dubai Knowledge Park. So it's an agglomeration of universities. So it's like it's a study destination by itself. But also it's in the middle of the media city, the internet city, the studio cities. So we are surrounded by different companies that offer opportunities for our students to work. And there is an increase in the number of SMEs and companies that would fund and help entrepreneurs. So across the street, there is a company that is called The Agenda, and their mission is to create a platform for creatives. So they have that platform for creatives from people who are studying these different programs. They would take them, they offer the proper space for them, they will give them whatever they need from the different connections, industry connections, a space to sit, and a phone. So like when these they want to push for small and medium businesses, so they give them the right environment to be able to progress in there. So it's same way as they have these incubators for working professionals. So also this is something to look at, and also in the UAE, the students, once they graduate and they start working, they can apply for a creative, within the creative clusters, they can apply for a visa for creative people. So this are freelancers. This is not the golden visa that I mentioned, it's different, but there is a now is within the UAE government and the free zone, they can offer freelancers a freelance visa. So they will have also, in addition to, so this will also translate as you have a freelance visa, it means that you are a UAE resident.
It's very nice, actually.
It is.
Yeah, and
Look, it's a place that relies a lot on expats. The UAE is very welcoming for people from all over the globe to come and live here together. They have an amazing example of tolerance. They respect every culture, every religion, and it's important to mention this because you all feel that it's people are being treated equally. Everything that you need to do, from any request that you will have, it gets answered, and it's very easy because also it's a place where services and quality of service is very important. So you will feel this in everything that you do on the daily basis, from taking the taxi, from the metro, from any documentation that you require from, I'm not talking only university, but everything that you need to achieve in here, any request will get answered immediately. And in fact, it's a KPI that they have put for themselves in this country, and they meet it perfectly well.
Thank you. And another question, which I find also it's very popular. We have the question: do Ghanaian students have to provide IELTS? And I will just add, if the country, like for example, we have the Africa continent, and a lot of countries have English as their official language, do you still require an English language certificate from such countries?
Yeah, so in that case, we request them to provide us with a letter from their school that their medium of instruction is English. Okay, this is an important thing to explain, and let me talk about it, because all the students for SAE Australia are considered as international students, even when they are English natives, or if they are following in English curriculum. So for them, we have to provide that proof of English language. So in this case, what I recommend the students to do is to go back to their own schools and request a letter where the school mentioned that these students have been studying with them for more than 2 years and that the medium of instruction is English. So they don't even have to do the test that we provide here at SAE.
All right, it's straightforward and it's very clear. The next one is how much is expected living costs, and what would be an average tuition fees per 1 year? One was the living costs.
The one with the living cost. Look, for accommodation, if someone wants to take the accommodation with the Myriad and Uninest, so they can start with a 2,500 dirhams, which is like around 600 US dollars per month, and I would say that the students would need an average of 800 to 1,500 within that range as a cost of living. 800 to 1,500 US dollars.
All right, thank you. The next one is, what is the initial amount that student needs to pay before getting the visa letter?
Before getting the visa letter, okay, the students, they need to, first of all, the first payment that they should do is the registration fee.
Let's maybe go back to this slide where you had all of this information. I think it's going to be, as it's going to be visible, it's going to be much more easier. Oh, yes, this one, thank you.
Okay. So when they need to provide us with the registration and the resource fee, and if they are applying for the visa will cost 7,827 dirhams. So in order to get the visa, they should pay this fee of 7,827 plus at least one trimester, which is the 19,860.
Thank you.
So it's registration, resource fee, visa cost, and one term of the fee. Now, if we are now just like only asking about what the student needs to pay in order to have a seat for the specific intake, is just the registration fee. So now if you have a student who's interested in joining and he wants September, to secure September, we just need 3,150.
Okay, thank you. The next one is, do you need a bank statement proof of funds, or is it needed for the visa?
No, it's not.
All right, the next question is, can we enroll students from UAE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
Yes, you can.
Should the students pay a whole year of fees, or are there any other options to pay?
So they can pay, so they have the option between the yearly plan, so the whole fee, or by trimester. As per the amount that is now mentioned on the slide. So it's 19,860.
Thank you. All right. And, I will just add one thing for the agents. The companies that Miss Christine mentioned in the presentations to which students can work, basically speaking, students can work in the biggest gaming companies, I would say the whole movie industry. We have Hollywood in USA, Bollywood in India, anything that has to do with the audio. So this is basically, I would say, the top of the creative industry, like movies, television, etc. And the next question that I would like to ask you, is it basically hard to study for the students? And do you have any actual kind of integration for the newly coming students? Because, a lot of time you have the thing which is called the cultural shock, and especially universities, are trying to ease it with some kind of integration parties in the beginning, like student clubs, etc., to make the stay for the new students who came much more easier. Because basically speaking, as I can say, I helped a couple of my friends to apply to Poland, but their first months, as they say, were horrible because this is the first time they're using the language they don't know, and it's usually like very hard to, I would say, integrate in the new environment.
Mm. Yeah, this is important. If you remember when we were like discussing about like this international students coming in, I've mentioned that each student or each group of students from a specific region will be allocated peer students. So they will look after them. And we made it a point somehow that if it's someone like who can speak their language, who understands their culture, their mentality, so they will be assigned someone who knows about the culture. So because like when I'm coming to a new country where it's somehow different to where I live, I need someone to guide me about like on some things. So this is every international student has a peer student from the already SAE students. So they will keep on checking on them, even like through not only like the WhatsApp messages, they will take them out. The week of welcome is done in a way that the students will be engaged in different activities on campus and outside the campus, so that they get to know each other better through fun activities. And we take them out just like also to introduce Dubai to them, because like Dubai has lots of attractions. So it's important to discuss these like attractions to them, so that during their free time also they are able to go in there. So the week of welcome, it's important. The student engagement also, if you can see in my fifth point in here, there are different events and clubs that the students can join, and also because these the clubs, they will be on like a smaller number of students, so they get, if they have a passion for, let's say, singing, if they have a passion for photography, for yoga, for meditation, so all these clubs we have them. And we are very active at the beginning because we want the students also to take part in these activities, so that they can make friends much easily. And again, so we do understand the anxiety that every student coming from a different country, it's like getting homesick. It's probably the heat that we have in the UAE that they are not used to. I know that now this summer everywhere is very hot, but then in the UAE it's different. So we explain to them how you live it differently, so how you take precautions, where in September it might be very humid, and then the beautiful weather will start from October to April or to May, and then in summer it's indoors. So it's like probably opposite to Canada. The way you live in Canada, it's here. So you have to, in summer you stay indoors, and then on the whole the other time like you are outdoors. And we have a very friendly student services department. They are, look, I want to tell you something, that SAE, when you look at SAE from like staff, from like students in here, we all are, you have this homogeneity, which means that staff like are young, they are easily approachable, even like the instructors. And you can understand, because these people like are coming from the media field, they are into this like animation, design, game. So these are like quite trendy people, and very friendly. Even I'm telling you about the faculty, because I do remember my days at university where you had your faculty or academics where it's like you wouldn't approach them. Here, everyone is so approachable and they are very helpful. And the student services also, they work very closely with the student. Now, if a student also has any issues, can it be on the mental front or a bit of learning difficulties, then it's very important to highlight it to the admission team, because at that stage, even before they join SAE, we have some specific support plans that are ready for these students. It's important to highlight these, and we are big believers of inclusion, up to a certain extent, of course.
Thank you. And I would like to ask you, because we already have one question in the Q&A, but I would like to ask you a short question. As I was a graduate of the journalism, it's very important in a creative universities like yours to have teachers who actually are working in the industry. Like, and a lot of people were, for example, when I was studying, were asking me like, do you actually have teachers who are working in the industry, or are those people, I would say, theoretical teachers? So they don't work in the industry, but they're just, reading the lectures.
Yeah, and this is one of the most important points that we highlight. So when you say that the SAE difference, if you just look at my second point in here, it's a faculty pool of industry experts. Your faculty are industry experts. Otherwise, the learning it will be, of course, it's not outdated, because the curriculum is always updated, but it will be missing a major aspect. Because if you want, for example, now we do have one of our faculty. He has a PhD in audio production. So it's a PhD. He has completed his bachelor degree, he did his master's, and he did his PhD. But again, he's still an industry expert. He works in the industry. And it's very, very important what you mentioned, as now when you did your journalism and you said that, are they still in the industry? Yes, 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 and yes. They should be. Otherwise, we don't. They don't meet our requirements to teach.
Thank you. The next question we have is, does the university assist with students' placement in other countries like US and Canada?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Do we help with the placement?
Does the university assist with student placement in other countries such as US and Canada? Please specify your question. Do you mean placement as going to study for a short period of time on another campus, or what do you mean? Because the question is very general.
Yeah, but let me answer it
Job.
The way I... Job, no. No, but if the students, for example, they want to complete their last stage at SAE in Canada or in the States, then they can transfer, and from there it will be the campus itself mission to provide with the placement.
I will just add from my own experience. So basically, if you will be hired by a very big company in Dubai, the one that Miss Christina mentioned, like Ubisoft, anything like this, you may ask directly in the company, can you be relocated? It's not the issue, but this is on the side of the company, not of the institution.
Yeah. Yes. So every campus, it's need to create that industry association within the country. Look, it's also from a logistic point of view, it's much it's easier. And for work placement, when we invite, for example, employers to come and meet with our graduating students, so of course they do it face to face. We do receive requests from international employers looking at for students from SAE, but in that case they are reaching out to us.
Right.
And we do have, so once also the students, when they do graduate, so immediately they are part of the SAE alumni, and this is where they have their own portal, and they keep on getting updates on job opportunities.
Right, that was very clear.
Still alumni, they're still active, and we take, we are always in contact with them. Even we organize once a year a get together for the ones who are still in the UAE. So dinner, and then they talk about their achievements, and there is always this collaboration from students who graduate from SAE, they start their business and they collaborate with other SAE graduates, or even they can take them for internship when they are working like in companies. So there's always important to keep that network of alumni, students, and industry experts active as much as we can.
And one more question, as you mentioned that, you create a university and you mentioned like 3-semester projects. So basically, how the exam session looks like in your institution, because as I understand, it's a very different from a usual where you just sit in the class,
Correct.
you do like ABC testing, and then you write open questions. So I think it's totally different.
Look, you asked me a question, but I don't think that I've replied to it when you said that the students, do they have to study? It's different. Look, it's the students, do they have to study? If I tell you no, I'll be just like giving you false information. But what type of studies that the students that they need to do? This is the important thing, is that how do they study? So in fact, when they come to a session, the session is it's a heavy session in terms of knowledge, of discussions that go in there, of practical work also that is involved. Now, the students, they don't sit for exams. No, we don't use this terminology, in fact. So the way that the trimester is designed, it's either for a unit, they have different projects. So it's like mini projects that they need to achieve, and they have from the beginning of their trimester specific deadlines where they have to submit their work. And of course, this goes into different reviews with the head of with their faculty, with the head of department, through consultation hours, with student services, or with peer tutoring. Okay, so because also we offer the support of peer tutoring. So the advanced students, they like in terms of like higher in advanced trimester, they support the new ones. So they have like they do complete these different projects. So they finish their trimester with 3 different projects, or as per the head of department, for one unit, they might have a major project toward the end, and they will have to meet milestones. So they have also deadlines for the first milestone where they have to complete that part of the project. Once it's completed, they will move to the second milestone. So it depends on, we keep it also this a flexible thing for instructors to determine how they want it. Is it like different milestones in order to complete one project within a term for one unit, or it's different mini projects that they will have to complete? But it's again, it's always, I repeat it, it's on project based. Even when the sessions or the unit is like on entrepreneurship unit, or for example on networking, because we have units where we teach students how to network. This is like the most important thing, is because it all relies on who you know in the industry, how you're gonna work with them. So it's also, they take it as a kind of a real life project that they are working on. It's not just like throwing ideas. Now, the students, they have what we call a learning journal. So learning journal is like kind of a notebook that they keep. However, it's not paper-based. It's there, it's online, that they share with their instructors. So with the learning journal, the students, they have to write not the milestones, but what are the challenges? So everything that they are facing within a specific unit, they do it 3 times per turn per unit. So they do explain what are the challenges that they are facing, what did they like about the unit, how did they overcome a specific challenge, and they always like document it either with pictures, with some like quotes that they write. But at least this will help a lot in reflective learning, because you can progress when you reflect on your own work, correct? So it's like kind of a self-assessment. When you self-assess yourself, you are able to progress. And of course, self-assessment is important, and your instructor's assessment is important. So all this will have to be reflected in that learning journal, so that we make sure that the students are able to get that project completed, but also to enhance their the way they are progressing themselves.
That was quite good. All right. From my side, I'm out of the questions. So, dear agent, if you still have some questions, ask them. Don't be shy, because this is basically your chance. The next thing is that I would like to also to ask you. Most of the time after the graduating, do students stay in the UAE in Dubai, or they moving to other cities in UAE, or are they moving abroad?
Now they are staying because of this stability that the UAE and mainly look, it's within the UAE, it's like Dubai, but it's also Abu Dhabi, because Abu Dhabi, they have established a creative hub and a gaming hub there. But in fact, like Abu Dhabi, Dubai is just like a 1.5 hour ride by car, so it's not like very far from here. So, but students are staying, and it's also like look at it from a regional perspective. So stability now here in this country is offered to everyone, so they are staying.
All right, thank you. So, Christine, I think we can wrap everything up.
Yeah, thank you. I
slowly.
want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank everyone who attended this session. I hope that I will be hearing back from you. And please, for any questions, now you have my email, you have my WhatsApp number. Don't hesitate to ask. Sometimes I might take a bit of time to reply if I'm in meetings, but for sure you will hear back from me on the same day, within the same day.
Also, dear agents, you will be sent a link after this webinar with the recording, so you will be able to go back to this presentation, and we will send to everybody the link to our YouTube playlist, where you will be able to find this presentation. So now you have the chance to write down the contact information of Miss Christine, contact her, and for everybody who is on the platform, you can find the SAE profile. They have it with the programs, with the prices, so you will be able to find all the information needed. Thank you very much, Christine.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.